I'm Liz Thunheim at Liz Thunheim, and welcome to JMU. So today we're talking about email marketing. I'm going to introduce our great panelists who I handpicked for you because they're my professionals who I go to for email info. But before introducing them, also want to just talk about what JMU is. So we're a group that comes together the first Thursday every month. If it's your first time, really happy to have you here today. And we tweet with the hashtag JMU612. So please, as we get started, tweet your questions or raise your hand, because I've instructed these guys to introduce themselves, give a little overview about email marketing and why it's still effective, and then we'll open the floor to questions from all of you. So with that, I want to introduce my panelists. Erin Weike is Vice President at Spidertrap, a digital firm in the Twin Cities, and tweets from @ErinWeike. Jennifer Kaplan is Product Marketing Manager at GovDelivery, a software as a service company in St. Paul that services government entities. I'll let her get deeper into that too, and tweets from @JenniferKaplan. So Erin, I'm going to have you kick us off.
People are devastated when, on average, an open rate is right around 20% for email marketing across the board. People go in thinking 95% of their list that they put in is going to listen to their message and going to open it. So that's definitely a rude awakening for them on that side. So just some high-level things for you guys to think about, hopefully start the conversation and look forward to the dialogue and the questions you have and see where I can be of help with some of these things. Obviously, social media, let's just consider that to be the darling, the shiny object and the thing that people gravitate towards. So as within a couple references to that, roughly around 61% of online users, social is their #1 activity that they do online. Well, email, that's 94%. So you can already see that the interaction that's there with it is much higher from the thing that a lot of us in marketing are gravitating towards. In sheer numbers, there's 2.9 billion active email accounts. Now we all know that can be multiple accounts. A number of you can probably think through the number of email addresses that you had. I know Joel's already made the joke. I mean, how many is anyone in here still rocking an AOL account? Or CompuServe even? I mean, there's some awesome old school ones out there. If my mom was here, she'd raise her hand and make fun of her. She AOL address all the way. She's also not on Facebook. She calls it FaceMail. So she asked me to open up FaceMail to show me pictures of the cousins. So. But that number of 2.9 billion, that's 3 times what Twitter and Facebook have together, right? I mean, Facebook's already, we are amazed by their hundreds of millions of user base, but 2.9 billion is definitely a larger piece of the pie for email. A big thing that I really try to talk to people with when we start in on their strategy on email marketing, especially for how much they love social, and it's an easy thing to tie together, like think of email as your most personal social channel that's out there, right? Instead of just completely separating that off, email is a social channel. You can create content no different than a blog. You can personalize it. You can send them specific messages because you've understood what they've done before or what they're interested in moving forward. And those are very important aspects to do. So don't just put email in its own separate category, especially if you're somewhere and you need to get buy-in, lump it in as a social tool. You might be able to free up a little bit more budget for that if you do it in that route. They're willing to listen to those kind of things.
All right, good morning everyone. Thanks so much for having us here. This is my first time at hashtag JMU612, so I might kind of follow along from now on. As Liz mentioned, I work at a company called GovDelivery. We are a software as a service agency based out of St. Paul. We're also in Washington, D.C. in the UK. We really focus on automating digital communications for government agencies as well as doing email marketing. We have a really large client base, over 550 clients in the government space. So we're talking about NASA, CDC, FEMA, all the way down to Minneapolis and St. Paul. So if you sign up for those snow emergency text alerts, we are the company that powers those. I know we don't want to be thinking about snow yet, but I figured that was the most relatable example. Not to inundate you with some of the same stats, but you hear a lot of people say with the rise of social media and mobile, is email marketing still relevant? Is it still effective? And my answer is yes. We look at Twitter, and Twitter is very exciting, it's very hot, they've experienced a lot of growth. They have 200 million users. We look at Facebook, same thing. It's been explosive over the past 8 years, and they are at 850 million users. Again, like Erin said, look at email, that's 2.9 billion users worldwide. And then we look at the number of emails sent per year, I think it's around 160 billion. So we're talking a huge volume and a huge audience here outside of social media. Another thing to kind of think of in terms of whether email marketing is still effective compared to social media is a little bit of the timeliness. So social media and some of these other emerging channels are really kind of like a billboard. You're posting a message on the billboard, you want people to interact, maybe they look at it, maybe they don't, and then it's a timely thing. So if they're there looking at their Facebook timeline, they see your post. If it's 3 hours later and they don't scroll all the way down, guess what? They've missed your post.
I can tell you in the hundreds of different lists I'm signed up for things to research, pay attention, and then some of my just weird things I like in life that get email marketing, nothing off the grid or anything. But with that, there's some of them that I completely look forward to, right? Because I know the content that they are going to deliver with it is just ridiculously superior. One is there's a small ad shop called 40 that's down out of Phoenix, Arizona. Their email marketing, every piece, the 5-6 small blurbs of content they have is recapping great and thoughtful posts that on a daily basis I'm not noticing from them. They're highlighting their work, doing other things. So the minute I get that, I 100% open every single one of their emails because of the brand they've created and who it is that's sending it to me. With others, it's going to be the subject line that gets me. And here's where you need to start thinking and mapping out. So the go-to for most people, right, is they're going to write, "Here is ABC Company's newsletter, volume 2. Awesome. I've been waiting for this." No. So at the very highest level, a lot of time the biggest split to understand on your subject line is, am I going a factual route? Is it going to be a fact, stat-driven, something like that? Or is it going to be an emotional route?
Don't be afraid to be fun and get creative with it. Depending on kind of who your audience is, sometimes it's those really unique and kind of funny or silly subject lines that get you to open the email. And you don't have to use necessarily something completely off the wall, but I would say, go with the voice of your company and your brand, and don't be afraid to take it to the next level. I love seeing a refreshing kind of fun subject line, even if it's just something that piques my interest and I say, what the heck is this? I'm going to open this email and see what's in there. I think that a lot of times people get stuck in the, what should my subject line be and what's going to get people to open. I think it's always neat to try something fun too.